Hello YouTube, Hoosier Archer here, and this is another episode of Thirsty Thursday. And we have another porter to try. And as I understand, okay, I'm not absolutely sure, but I believe this is pronounced Deschutes. But it could be Deschutes, Schutzus, or something like that. But this is Black Butte Porter, and I have heard absolutely nothing about this. Nobody talked to me about it. I just saw it in the one-off where I like to get my Thirsty Thursday rack, the one-off rack, and you get a six-pack of it for $9.99. And some of them are beers that if you got a six-pack, well, actually come in a four-pack for $11.95. So if you filled up your six-pack, you could get the beer on sale. But I think that's a little bit disreputable. But they have interesting cap. This is definitely going to go on. Well, unless this is absolute crap, this cap will go on the beer cap hatband. All right. As always, my traditional whiff. Oh, that's got a nice aroma to it. I can't quite put. I worked a lot tonight. I was very, very busy. I think my nose might be. I was in the steam a lot, so my nose could be out of whack a little bit. But it smells good. There's a hint of chocolate in that. Uh-oh. I think I figured out why this might have... Whoop, whoop, whoop. Move the tripod. There we go. I need to check something here. Oh, okay. All right. I'm drinking this just in time because the Best By date is 9/30/2018. So it being the 15th or the 16th. What is it today? Heck, I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's not the 30th. So it's before that. It smells fine. Born in Oregon, Bend, Oregon. Let's see what we got here. Family and employee owned since 1988. Well, everything on there so far, and it's 5.2% by volume. So that's in the middle on a porter, actually. There are some that are lower than that. But, all right, first taste. We just might have ourselves a 5. I'll have to keep drinking to be sure. Okay. A little more bitter than I actually usually like, but not to the point of being unattractive to the palate. Does have the mouthfeel of a porter. The creaminess, the tightness of the bubble, and the lathery, smooth, buttery feel that is so delightful on darker ales. There are hints of dark chocolate, I think, Um, oh, that was positively delightful. Not every time you do the give me the full intent, that little swishing you do, that makes sure it saturates every taste bud in your mouth. Your cheeks actually have some taste buds in them too, but they're all wired to the same place in your brain. It also takes up, brings uh, fumes up through the back of your nose, and you get some. This is really complicated, but not anything to worry about. I mean, everything that's going on is nice. This has some nice special notes. There's some kind of toasted nut flavor in it, which is probably toasted malt. Um, and also a mild dark chocolate flavor, which is also probably roasted malt and from the roasted malt. And a note of bitterness, as I say, that's fairly strong, but for me is not off-putting. And yet, there's this feeling of drinking a, there's this taste of beer. You know, a lot of dark ales have all that other stuff going on for them, the bitterness, the chocolate notes, the toasted nut notes, the little bit of hops in the background, and this right down through the center of the flavors. There's stuff on the top of this, and there's stuff down below. There's just this taste of good beer. It's not a 5, but man is it close. You might be seeing the highest rated beer so far in my Thirsty Thursdays. This is definitely a buy the whole 6-pack and drink it all and see what the after effects are. It's just pleasant to drink. It's got the heavier flavors that you associate with darker ales and porters, and it's got the mouthfeel. It's not a full on. It's not as. I'm not going to tell you that this is as good as Taddy Porter, but Tadcaster Porter, but it is a very, very, very close second to that. That is the standard by which I judge all porters is Tadcaster. Maybe because that was the first porter I ever drank. Um, when I was in England and I drank pubs. They brewed a lot of pubs brew their own beer, and I said, "What is your house draft?" And they said, "Our version of a porter," and they were half a bubble off, but a Tadcaster, and so they were delightful. And I'd only had Tadcaster out of a bottle, so uh, the fact that the draft was almost exactly as good. But then I went to the brewery where they made Tadcaster and had Tadcaster off of a draft, and it floored those house brews. Almost every pub sells an ale that they, not every one of them, but every one that I went to, because I had a guide and he only took me to, sorry, there's something, excuse me, sesame seed that I didn't think I didn't get out when I flossed after I ate supper, but well, apparently I did. Must have missed it. Could have been under my tongue, I guess. I don't know. That's beside the point. Anyway, this is fantabulous. I will be drinking this again. In fact, this is going in my notebook of beers to buy. Not every one that I've reviewed for you folks has gone in that notebook. I'm going to try other Deschutes. Yep. If this is as good as this is, I'm willing to try others, including lagers if they make them. If you were eating a steak, a nice, perfectly charcoal grilled ribeye, perfectly medium rare, with just a little bit of salt and pepper and maybe a hint of garlic on it, and a baked potato. Now normally I'd have a Cabernet Sauvignon at least 12 years old with that, or this. Actually, a big, really, really good char-grilled hamburger that you make for yourself. This would go well with that. And this will blow your mind. Drink this with a piece of chocolate cake and go to a world few ever go to. Don't forget the blue cheese. I could not laugh at that. I will tell you this story real quick, that why I think that's so funny. A friend of mine and I were coming back from a trip to Oregon. And there was this little one-off restaurant off to the side of the highway. And we decided that we would, we like to go to one-off restaurants. And so we pulled in, and their menu was just, basic restaurant food, American restaurant food, kind of half a bubble off of farmhouse food. And we had a nice lunch, and he says, I'm kind of in the mood for dessert. He says, can we see the menus for desserts? And he's looking at it. He sees they have cheesecake, and it's actually baked cheesecake. It's New York style cheesecake. It says New York style baked cheesecake. And we guarantee you won't be disappointed, it says. And then it says you can get a scoop of fruit, and it does say that in the menu. Scoop of fruit, 95 cents. So when the waitress comes back over and asks, do you guys want dessert? And I saw they had a in-house baked chocolate cake. So I said, I think I'll have a piece of that chocolate cake. She says, that's really good today. You're going to like that. And he says, I got a question. He says, it's your cheesecake here. It says that a scoop of fruit is 95 cents. How much for a scoop of chili? And she goes, you want a scoop of chili over your cheesecake? And he says, yeah, how much for a scoop of chili over my cheesecake? He says, I'll go ask the manager because nobody's ever asked for that. And she took 2 steps away, turned around and said, did you really want that? And he just started his big, deep laugh, and I cracked up too. And she said, do you still want that chocolate cake? I said, yes, but don't forget the blue cheese dressing. Which got him to go up a level of laughter, her to go up a level of laughter. She went back and told everybody in the kitchen. So there was all this laughter in the back of the kitchen. But they brought me my chocolate cake with a little cup of blue cheese dressing. And then she waited to see if I would actually pour it on the chocolate cake. And I didn't, but I did dip the last bite into the blue cheese dressing. And she goes, why'd you do the last bite? He says, so I don't order a second piece. Now I'm really, really sad that I only bought this as a one-off. I would really dearly love it if there were 5 more of these waiting in the refrigerator for me. $4.9. 4.9. Definitely check this out if you see it in your store. I'm not fooling. This was absolutely the most pleasant Thirsty Thursday review I have had. Yippee-ki-yay, and you know the rest. Mercy. Isn't it delicious? Isn't it delightful? Isn't it just the living end? What's this say? I gotta read this, but they made it in a font too small for 57-year-old eyes to see. Worth sharing? Heck no. By the way, I have no idea how much this costs a six-pack, but I'm going to tell you right now, if it's even $20 a six-pack, it's worth it. Now, and I'm a working man, okay? But some things in life, life's too short to drink cheap beer. You got to remember that. Unless all you want to do is get your load on. And there's a time and a place for that. Anyway, 4.9. 4.9. The highest rated beer to date. God bless, happy trails, and watch your top knot.